Good afternoon, Line Golf Academy members, and welcome back. And yes, we are talking about the great Sergio Garcia, and like him or hate him, he has one of the best moves in golf, and probably one of the most misunderstood moves in golf, as I've seen many people talk about his increase of lag and how that causes him to flip an impact, but I don't think he increases his lag quite so much as what people lead you to believe, and I believe this is all an optical illusion based on his hand path. But let's just take a look at this motion while we get this thing all sorted out. So let's take a look at that first part of the move. So as he takes that club back, his arms are slightly higher than his lower plane line, but his club is below that plane line. Club face is slightly open to his spine angle, which is fine. He's relieving some pressure. Gets to the top of that secondary plane line, a little bit lower, but what you can find out with really good players is that club head on the right side of the screen, you'll see it. It's always going to touch that top plane line. So we have players that get their hands above that plane line. Typically, the club head is on that plane line. And for Sergio, he gets his hands slightly lower that plane line, but good players all share this. They get that club face on that plane line. And you don't believe me? Start looking at all these golf professionals because they all have different arm motions. Their body kind of does the same sort of thing. On the left side of the screen, we can see a slight lower body sway. You can tell this because if you look at that right foot over here, you can see that weighting is kind of slipping on that outside of the right foot, which is fine because now he can push into it. He's doing a great job, great turn, still in his spine angle. You can see he's leaning back, got that huge power V, and this is where he gets a lot of power from. Hence the name. There's a great range of motion. We can see his shoulders are well past 90, hips are about 45, so that X factor he's going to get is probably 80 degrees, and he's going to get a little bit of a stretch as he makes that move. But one thing I want you to look at is that arm plane position. So next we're going to look at his arm path and how this gives the optical illusion of increasing his lag, which I hear a lot of people say he does. And how we can tell is we're going to look at the angle that he set his wrist at on the left side of the screen. So we can see it's pretty close to that 90-degree angle. We're going to make note of that because as we come down in the next couple of frames, the 1, 2, we can see now visually on this side of the screen, he looks like, oh, you know what? He's increased his lag. But on the right side of the screen, we can take a look at his new path of his hands. And when he has a new path of his hands going straight down, he's getting that club to the lower plane line pretty quickly. So we're going to keep going. We're going to go one more frame and take a look at what happens. So as we go that one extra frame, now his path of his hands has flattened out to match that lower plane line. Where if you take a look at his angle on the left side, it is, guess what? It is 90 degrees. Obviously, the club is bowing right now because of that immense rotation that he has. But what happened to his path with his hands? If we take a look at the right side of the path and we connect those little dots here, we can see how because his hands stabilized, what that did with his angle is it's the same thing. So it's an optical illusion. When you get your hands from a high position to a low position and you maintain that same angle, you will see that it looks like you are getting an increase of lag. So we're going to draw the same circle around the club head and see what happens and see if they stay relative to each other. 1 frame, 2 frames, 3 frames. We're also going to do the same thing on the left side. So we're going to go 1 frame, 2 frames. Next frame, now it's been dropped. It's going to reconnect to that line. So this is what gives us that illusion. And let's go ahead and draw the lines now. So there's the first frame and then there's that second frame. So what you can see he is doing with his hands is he is dropping them lower first. So he is not adding any angle. He is just dropping them, and that gives that perception of the angle increasing with his wrists. And then he just reconnects and everything's connected now. Arms are above that plane line slightly. Club is below that plane line. So to get from this extreme angle, you really have to have a lot of arm and hand manipulation, which he is one of the best in the world at doing. One of the best ball strikers on PGA Tour history. Like if he could only putt, he would have won a lot more majors. As he comes on through now, he's holding that lag. As he hits that golf ball, his body's rotating. You can see his upper body's hanging back while he's still in that spine angle, which is what we're looking for. Still in that power V. He hasn't shifted back. He's trying to launch that club, but he's doing it at a very shallow angle. So that's what usually gives him a plus launch angle at impact. And once he comes on through, he's still in that spine angle on the right hand side, rotates up. Now you can see his hands are much higher than where they were, where that's typically not the case. We see the hands exit at about the same entry point at the top of your swing. So that club, those hands should have been right about here. So he does a little manipulation, not with his spine, with his arms and hands, which is why I think he has the hands of a god. So let me know if you agree. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know if this is something that you ever thought about or even viewed, but I thought it was very interesting, as I've always known that he hasn't increased his lag. However, he has just rerouted his hand path. If you like this, please drop a like, please subscribe, spread the word. Really helps the channel grow. Remember, we're doing our 1,000 sub giveaway. Just mention Wichita in the comments, and if you don't know what that means, that goes way back to our Reddit swing analysis series, where most of my guesses were from Wichita, and most of the time I was wrong. But I will see you on Sunday with the video you voted for. If you haven't voted yet, go hit that vote. Community post, Ferris and Greens.